So some more retirement cards, and I thought I've used retiring colours and trying to use all of that up, as you saw in my previous video, but in this one I'm going to use current stamp sets which are continuing, so you can still buy these from the new catalogue. So the first set I made, we made some lovely cards with this gorgeous set in the moment. We made them a couple of blogs ago. Have a look, you'll see those, and you'll see the videos on them. And I used a technique called paper piecing on it. But you can make these into retirement cards too. So let me show you what I mean. This is the first one I made, and this is using Magenta Madness, and I think it's the first time I've used it as a card base. But all I've done with this one is made the card base, cut out my usual basic white layer. Thinking back, if I was doing this one again, I may well emboss at least part of it. The difficulty is with the image. If you emboss the whole of the front, you probably need to do the image separately, but I've done the image flat, coloured it on the card. And a little tip for making images stand out when you're just stamping on a card is just use balmy blue or another light blue round the edge, and it just brings the image up. So it looks almost as if it has been stuck onto the card, and it isn't. It's completely flat, this card. Well, it isn't because I've raised the sentiment, but just a little tip. If you're doing an image on a flat card, then raise it up. If you did want to emboss the background, I would definitely stamp the image on a different piece of card and cut it out and put it on the card that way, because the embossing would show through the image and make it look a bit odd. So that was this one, and I've just used some dots, used the Happy Retirement from the Senior Years set. I've used a retired punch to cut that out. I've cut out another piece in Magenta Madness, cut it in half, stuck it behind the sentiment, and then I've got a little outline for my sentiment there. And inside, I've used the sentiment from the In the Moment set. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is relax. And I've also used this from another set we're going to talk about in a minute. So that was the first one I did with In the Moment. And the second one I did was very similar to a card we made with this set for a birthday, but this time I've cut my base, my bumblebee base longwise so that it opens that way. So it's a landscape card. And here, what I've done is use two of the Celebration Labels dies. So I've used DSP for the first layer, just stuck flat. Then I've cut out with the Celebrations dies, two of the neighbouring sizes, used the top one to stamp on it, used paper piecing to use the DSP to match, to fill in the image, coloured the rest of the image. This one, I've actually used the new splatters. Well, it was new in the current January to July catalogue, the little splatters embossing folder, which I rather like, and it's just given that a little bit of oomph, if you like. I don't know, I'm not sure whether I should have used Bumblebee again for that, but I thought I'd need a little bit of colour contrast, so that's Crumb Cake. But you can play and see what you think. Again, I've used the same Happy Retirement sentiment from Senior Years, cut it out, just flagged the end and stuck it on and added a few gems. So that's that one. Again, I've used a Relax and this from another set, which I'm about to show you. So always think about the sets you've got. How can you adapt them and use them for the cards you want to use? So the final set I'm using is this one. And this is carrying on in the new catalogue. It's called Nothing's Better Than. It's got all these lovely images and sentiments. And it has a set of matching dies, which is really nice. And a lot of the dies are for the words in the set, so you can actually raise them. I've not used them on the cards I've done, but I will be using, because I think we're going to do a whole craft along with these, because I've slightly fallen in love with this set, which I've had on the shelf more or less since the start of the last catalogue, but I haven't actually used it yet until now. So these are the cards that I have made with it. This is the first one. So this is a really simple card. Again, I think doing it again, I might well emboss the background, which I'm going to do in a minute because we're just about to make this one. And little something on it, there we go. So all I've done with this is used a blending brush to put some Bumblebee, just form a shaded area. Then I've used the cocktail glass and the infill for it and coloured those, obviously used Bumblebee for the infill, coloured those and cut it out with the die that comes with the set. Again, I've used the same sentiment as before and the same punch as before and just stuck it on together. So I've raised those two things on dimensionals, and that's the card. Quite like it. Would probably use in fact, we'll probably do that in a minute because we're going to make this card. I'm going to use an embossing folder just to give a little bit more interest to the front of the card, but sometimes just plain is good. Then inside I've used the same image and just put my other sentiments to do with that. So that is that card. As it happens, I had a portrait piece, so we're going to make it portrait next time. Always stamp your envelope. Never forget to stamp your envelopes, folks. And the other card I've made with this set is this one. And these are all from this set. It's totally made from this set. The only thing that's different is this DSP with some retired current DSP that I've just used as a strip. Again, you could use 2 different coloured cardstock, you could emboss one, whatever you wanted to do. But I've kept it simple. I'm using the cinnamon cider base. Cut this out with the same celebration label die that I've just shown you on the In the Moment card. And I've then stamped on it, today's plan, consume coffee, cookies and chocolate. On scrap pieces, I've stamped the cookies, the chocolate and the cup, the coffee cup. There's an infill, for this one, you've got the outline stamp and the infill. So I used cinnamon cider for these, stamped it clear for the outline. For the infill, I stamped off, so it's a lighter colour, so you can still see the detail on the chocolates. Stamp the cookies, cut them out, just stamp that plain, cook it out, that's that. That one will fill into this cup if you wanted it to. I just used it plain, to be honest, for this, because I think it's enough. And the cookies, again, put in. You can use it, again, an infill colour if you want. I did and ah about it and played around with some crumb cake for the cookies, but I decided not to. I've left them plain white. So these are the set, and I quite like that one. So that makes a nice retirement card, I think, because today's plan, coffee, cookies and chocolate, and be awesome. I quite like that. That is, again, from this set, and be awesome. And I just put the coffee cup there with happy retirement at the bottom there. So that was my other idea for this lovely set. Now I'm going to be making a lot more cards with this set. So for today's video, I thought we would actually make this card. Oops, get it out again. I might just go and emboss, as I've just said to myself, I might just go and emboss the front. So let me move that. Oh, I've got a non-stamping up envelope, because, by the way, I haven't stamped the front of it yet. I found them and I think I really need to use them. So yeah. So I've got the same piece, 2 layering pieces, one for the outside, one for the inside. So I'm just going to go off, pause the recording while I do it, because you don't want to see me doing that. I'm just going to go and use an embossing folder on this piece. Right, so here I am back and half ready. So I've now embossed this with, I've used Tasteful Textures embossing folder. So now I'm going to use the blending brush just to make a nice patch of bumblebee yellow in the corner, like on the first one. And you can decide which you like best. So when using the blending brush, I would always just start it off on a piece of scrap paper, so you know there's no areas that are too dark. And then it's just a matter of putting it on so it's as dark as you want it to be. And I know my image isn't that big, so I'm going to just do this corner. So it just acts as a sort of, again, highlights. It has much the same effect. So you see how the brush can get darker areas. So as long as you check it on the paper first, you're not going to get that on the final card. And I wasn't sure about putting this on top of the embossed paper, but actually it's done all right. I thought I'd get too many dark bits, but I've got a few that are a little bit darker. I don't think that matters too much. So there, I've learnt something myself, because I came back to the desk and I thought, oh, I should have actually put the colour on before I embossed. And I would always advise you to do that. So don't do it my way, but if you do make a mistake like me, it doesn't look like it means it makes too much difference, which is a good thing. So, right, so let me get on with the card, having had a little bit of a paniquette there, but that's okay. Need a piece of, I need my inside. What did I do on the inside? Yes, I did the same. So, oh, I need a piece of scrap. Where is a piece of scrap? Need it big enough to make sure I can cut out. Into my scrap drawer, there's always some there. Right, so the really simple image I'm going to use for this is simply the cocktail glass, which is this one, which we'll stick on my block there. And then I want the infill bit to it with the ice and the filling up bit. That's this bit. There we go. Why did I put the ink pad away? Because I need it now. Never mind, I'll get it out in a minute. So I'm going to stamp it in Memento first. So I need one that I'm going to cut out for the front. And then I need one on my inner piece of card. It's just stamped flat. And I'm also going to use it on the envelope. Do not forget to stamp your envelopes, folks. Very important for me. Okay. So that's my stamping. So I can put the stamp away. Mixed up with it. So now, I need to reach across again and get the bumblebee out again. Away for a minute. So now I'm going to use this. This has got, don't you see it, but it's got like ice cubes in it. So they come out as ice cubes. So now it's just a matter of trying to line it up properly. And I love clear stamps. They're so much easier to line up. You usually get it about right. There we go. And that one. And this one in here. Now, the only thing I'd say is that this, as you can see, it doesn't actually quite fill the glass. I think you're supposed to put it with a little bit of a white all the way around, which I didn't really like. So I've lined it up so it actually touches the base all the way around. And then I very simply use my, oh, not those, no, that's my blends. No, use my Stampin' Right marker, my Bumblebee Stampin' Right marker to just fill in around the edge. Because I want it to fill the glass. I don't know, it's just my personal preference, but if you want to use it as it is meant to be used and have the gap around the side, that is absolutely fine. It's just, I don't like it. Don't worry if you think you can see an edge, because that will go as the ink dries in the Stampin' Right marker. You don't actually end up with a line. Okay, so that's what I've done with these glasses. Then all I need to do is stamp my sentiment. I've actually got happy birthday on the block, so I'm just going to use that. But obviously to make a retirement card, you can use happy retirement. I'm just going to stamp that on scrap and then cut it out with the punch. And then all I need to do is use the die that cuts out this beautifully. Oh, I haven't coloured the other bits. So I think I used just jade for the umbrella. Don't think I've got to, should I colour the envelope as well? Why not? Let's colour everything while we're here. Oh, it's bleeding a little bit on the envelope, never mind. There we go. And then if you wanted the same colour, you could use the Bumblebee Stampin' Right marker, but as I explained before, there isn't a stamping blend, but I did find that Mango Melody actually matches quite nicely. So I'm going to use that for the lemon. You could use Daffodil Delight or whichever yellow you wanted, really. But I just thought Mango Melody actually matched the Bumblebee quite nicely. So I'm using the light one to colour the flesh of the lemon, and then the darker one, which I think is very like Bumblebee actually, to colour the outside rind bit. Should I do the envelope? Yeah, leave it. Right, so there's all our bits ready. Just need to put a sentiment on there, which I will do later. Ooh, spare bit here. Seems to be too many bits. Let's just put that to the side. So it's just a matter of assembling the card now and cutting out that and punching out that. So start off by just sticking this down. Actually, I might use tape. No, I'll use, for speed, I'll just use this. Sometimes I do find with when you're using embossed mats and layers, that tape actually will hold it better, but as long as I give this plenty of time to dry, it'll be fine. Because the glue just doesn't quite hold the texture down as well, in my opinion. But if I make sure I hold it for a while, make sure it's going to stick properly. There we go. So that's stuck that down. So I'm quickly going to use the lovely mini Stampin' Emboss machine. So first thing to do is place this die nicely over the image. Stick my head over the top so I can see where I'm going with it. And then use a bit of low tack tape, stick it down. I don't want that to move because otherwise it won't cut it out nicely. So slight bangy noise when I open this. Right, we'll just push this through. Lovely. I'll use the bangs to close it down again in a minute without disturbing anybody here. See from my plates, this gets a lot of use. So there is my image. And then it's really, oh, I need to just punch this out. Again, you could use, I'm using a, except I lost it. Where did I put that punch? There it is. I'm using a retired punch for this, but there may be another sort of punch you have, or a little label die from one of your die sets. Doesn't really matter, whatever you find that suits. Oh, that's really not quite wide enough. I'm being really cheeky using something like that. So I need to get it right in the middle because it's going to look odd otherwise. Oh, that's me using tiny, tiny bits of scrap card. But that's done all right. So just a matter of putting the card together. And we're very simply just going to use dimensionals on here. I'm going to use a big one. I'm just going to use a little tiny one under the umbrella. So that's going to hold it. I'm going to have him just there. Might have taken that a bit further up actually. Anyway, that will do for that. And then I can put the sentiment on underneath. As I say, I've made this one happy birthday instead of, oh, it's going to be tight there. Might just stick it up there actually. Too tight at the bottom for this one. So 2 different cards. That's my retirement one to show you. That's my textured one. You can decide yourselves which you like best. I'm puzzled now because I actually like the texture, especially with putting the sentiment up there. But I don't really like the texture behind with the colour. I'm going to have to think about that in future. What do you think? If you want to find out any more, please go to craftycarolscards.co.uk and get in touch. The new catalogue's coming out soon, so if you want one of those, get in touch and I can get you one. And I look forward to seeing you very soon when we'll be having a look at some of the new products coming out. Bye for now.